If you're a tax firm owner who is struggling with getting your team to be motivated or to get the job done, it's probably because of lack of a word that everybody throws around called culture. Culture is this like mystical thing that people call, I don't know, my business has poor culture. And it's really never really clearly defined. And culture has been a saboteur of most businesses today, meaning people, the way they feel in an organization is really, really bad. So today, what I want to break down is how we get the best culture. And this is coming from a guy who's been in the industry for over 18 years. I've had over 200 employees at my peak. Today, I employ about 65 in my advisory firm, and I've had to fire, hire, develop, and train people for almost 2 decades. And today, we operate a company that's doing well over $15 million, and we are continuing to scale that fast. If you're a advisory firm owner, a tax practice owner, if you're somebody in the tax space, this is going to speak directly to you from the pains, the woes, the aha moments that I've had, but more importantly, how you can get past these culture challenges. So culture is a set of standards. It's behaviors that you have tolerated or accepted in your business. And this is one of the biggest challenges in business today because we probably have accepted poor standards. And usually it's because we have a fear of telling the truth by saying, hey, you're kind of messing up here. We need you to make these changes. And sometimes we have this fear of losing people because of these conversations. So we accept these things. Now, culture internally is how people behave, how people act, how people feel within the organization. So you think about it like this. A culture is when I walk into the doors as an employee, do I believe it's acceptable to be late? Do I believe it's acceptable here to not matter or care about details? These are my standards that I have either created or created by accident by not making statements like, hey, it's not cool to be late. Hey, it's not acceptable to miss details. Hey, it's not cool. By doing this, you're either going to create standards that you love and accept and want to have, or you're going to create standards that you're like, man, I wish we got better. Now, internally, that's how people feel. Externally, this becomes your brand. So how people see you, are you a person or a company rather that gets the job done, that details matter, that always is on time? And these are two different perspectives. It's the outside world, the people that maybe do business with you, and the internal, the people who do business with you as well. So, like, they both do business with you, but do they have the same opinions of the company? And once you get these two disconnected, guess what? You lose credibility, you lose trust. So, the goal is always to make the inside and the outside, which is your brand, be the same thing. So, branding is external, culture is internal. So, what are the characteristics of a poor culture? Well, it's typically where people feel like there's no opportunity to win, that there's no feedback, there's no conversations about how things can change or get better. It's typically where people feel like this is just the way it is and it's okay. We accept these things. As a culture of accountability, when you start saying, I don't tolerate these things, it becomes more of an open dialogue. It becomes where we have conversations that allow us to grow as a company. And there are good examples of good cultures, right? And you can see it in brands like Apple who have high standards, or brands like Kimpton, which is a great example of a great hospitality company. If you've never stayed at a Kimpton hotel, Kimpton does a great job of making sure that there's details and that you feel welcomed and loved when you come into the environment. The Four Seasons does the exact same thing for their clients. And so you have these cultural challenges where people feel one way, brand, about something, and people who feel one way internally, which is the culture. Now, standards are things that don't get met in an organization. I see this all the time. As an example, if you're running a tax practice today, you're probably wondering why people can't process a return correctly, like get it done, because they're like, why'd you miss the form? And why are these little things not entered in? And it's truly just a reflection of what behaviors you have accepted. So how do we correct this, right? Correcting this starts with making sure, first off, that you have standards that are clear. So when I meet with a firm owner that I'm working or coaching on, I'm like, well, tell me why do people believe they could be late? And then they'll stop and I'm like, well, we never said they could. And I said, well, when have they been late and you didn't say anything? And they'll say, well, there's been a few times, Tom just kind of wanders in. And this happens, I mean, think about it this way. There's always this time where somebody gets hired the first day or starts a new job. It's interesting because this will always happen. You've even done this. You get hired and your first day on the job is coming up. So it's Sunday, you're preparing for Monday. And Sunday night, you lay out your clothes for the next day. You maybe even meal prep, and you get excited about it. So you go to bed a little early, or maybe you can't sleep, but you're trying your best to go to bed early, and you wake up a little bit earlier that day, you get a little more prepped, you leave to the office a little earlier so that you can get there just a few minutes ahead of time so that you could start the day because you're excited and you're engaged and you want this to be a great experience. And then 90 days later, your Sunday night, you go out for a drink, it turns into 3 drinks, and then by midnight, you're crawling into bed, and then 6 a.m. comes and you snooze, and 6:45 snooze, and by the time you know it, you roll out of bed and you groggily brush your teeth, and then you get your ass to the office a few minutes just after the time you're supposed to be there. And like, what has changed? It just the culture of the organization conditioned you to believe that this is acceptable behavior, and you lost the excitement to work in that environment. And this happens all the time to companies all across this country, across the globe. So the way you change it is that when things are not right, you correct them immediately. Number one, so you say the standard here is this, and we only accept that. Number two, when you look at your company, always remember that you get to decide this. So you go to the most influential people and you say, look, these are our standards and we must enforce them. If you have a leadership team, you talk to them and you say, hey, moving forward, nobody can be late because this is not acceptable. And I think a lot of people, just a side note, I think a lot of people miss this, that a lot of what we do on an organizational basis as a leader, you and I, our job is not to tell people that they're late. Our job is to protect the people who are on time, because those people are defending the standards in your organization, and there's somebody competing against it. They show up late, so then the other people who do their job and get it done right, they're the ones who are like, well, maybe it's acceptable to be late. Maybe they don't care around here. And being late is just an example. It could be poor communication. It could be not getting the job done on time. It could be whatever. But you insert your problem here, and you're going to run into a situation where there are people who are doing it and there are people who are not. And the people that the behavior that you want, you need to protect those people, because if you don't, then they get discouraged and then they become the person who rolls out of bed and says, I don't make it to the work on time this morning. You see, that's what happens. And so you number one, you have to address the standards. Number two, you've got to go to the team and say, who do I need to protect and who do I need to have conversations with? And number three, you've got to do the great apology. I have this whole training on this thing called the apology, where you go in and you say to the team, I'm sorry for poor standards. I'm sorry for not holding people accountable. I'm sorry for these things. And then you address each concern and you say, but we need to get better, and we get an ask and we get them to commit. It's a whole framework. In fact, I have a video just on it. I'll put a link down below for it. But you do this so that you can reset and re-engage the culture of your organization, so that when you finally feel like, when I walk in, things are being done, the details matter, and I feel like people care about the job and they take care of our clients, it's because you've built a great culture. And every organization deserves to do this, because culture is the one thing people thrive on. And you know this because it becomes contagious. People want to work for this company because they're like, I want to work for that company because, like, dude, they got something going on. When I get in there, I feel good about myself. I feel good about the people around me. They want to win. They promote winning. They hold me accountable, and I like being held accountable. Like, these are the people I want to be around. And that's the kind of contagious culture that you can build in your organization when you raise the standards, you put people in the right places, and you really tell people how it is. So if you like videos and content like this, dude, you got to keep watching my channel. Click on the video below for the great apology. And if you would like to book a call or a strategy session with me and my team to find out how we can help you grow and scale your tax firm, click on the link below in the bio.